everyone, I'm back again, continuing the house series. So today we speak about the seventh house. And of course the seventh house is conventionally and most popularly known as the house of marriage, the house of committed relationships. But there's much more to it than that, and let's get into what other significations the seventh house holds. So it does represent your spouse, the nature of your spouse, the physical characteristics of your spouse. It can represent the marriage itself, and it can represent any long-term committed relationship. It shows the spouse's personality. So for example, if you have Venus as your seventh lord or Venus as your seventh house, it can show a spouse that is very refined and cultured and attractive. But besides marriage partners and long-term relationships, it can also represent business partnerships, as we know. It represents foreign businesses, it represents international trade, so any dealings that you have in that area is represented by the seventh house. It's the house of open enemies, meaning that your marriage or business partner could become an enemy. As opposed to hidden enemies or secret enemies, and that's represented more by the sixth house. Because if you see that, the seventh house is in immediate opposition to the first house. So from the first house, being yourself, you can see what's in the seventh house. It's a reflection. Whereas the sixth house, you cannot see directly. So that's sort of the logic behind it, open enemies versus secret enemies. Of course, we also know that it becomes the Maraka house, along with the second house. So it's the house to be seen to time death and the nature of the death. You can also see things like passion and fertility and success in love affairs from the seventh house, because Venus is the Garaka of the seventh house and it represents all of those things. So if you've got a strong Venus in your chart, it actually acts as a good protective cover for the seventh house matters. Generally speaking, the seventh house is just other people. It's what you're portraying into the world. Again, because it's the opposite of the first house, so it's a reflection of the first house. So any planet, for example, passing through the seventh house in transit is going to put you in the limelight. If it's Saturn, it may not bring you such good results. Perhaps it's a time when people aren't looking at you in a favorable way or in a pleasant way. But then if it's Jupiter, then the opposite could happen. So that's sort of an example there. If you also have Saturn transiting the seventh house, it's a time when you have to watch for any kind of dissatisfaction in your relationships. The thing about Saturn is, though, it helps you deal with those dissatisfaction. Whereas if you've got some benefic like Venus or Jupiter transiting through the seventh house and your marriage is already a bit rocky, you may feel less of a inclination to perhaps fix the marriage, and instead you might look outside of the marriage for companionship or for passion, for a relationship. So that's something to also keep in mind. So that's it for the seventh house. Next is the eighth house, which I will cover in great detail, because I think that's a very sort of controversial area. As usual, subscribe below, leave any comments you like, and if you'd like a consultation with me, please check out my website. It's anahitarao.com. Cheers.